Wait, tell me this story.
Okay, so
Don't stop there.
I was a massive Commodores fan, and Lionel was just leaving the Commodores at this time, right? I was a senior in high school. My best friend in high school was a year older than me, so he was in college in Atlanta at Emory. Had a roommate, and they would be playing tapes, and right, that's what you did. You'd crank up the cassette on the boombox.
Yeah.
Well, my best friend, he had my demo tape, and they were playing it in their apartment like they were playing REO Speedwagon.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just in the mix. And his roommate said, "This guy, he's your friend from high school? He's really good." He goes, "Something's got to happen with this guy, right?" He goes, "I grew up with a guy who works with the Commodores. I'm going to send him Richard's tape." So I get this call from my buddy going, "It's my friend's friend who grew up with the guy, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right." I don't know. 6 weeks later, my parents' phone rings, and it's Lionel Richie.
No way.
At first I thought I was being pranked. But then when he started talking, I was such a fan. I knew his speaking voice from watching him in interviews and stuff. And I was like, "Oh my God, it's really Lionel
It's really
Richie."
him. His voice is unmistakable.
Unmistakable.
Yeah.
And he said, "Doctor," right? "Doctor, I get a lot of tapes, and man, I just wanted to tell you, I think you're really talented. And what's your plan? He talked to me for like 20 minutes.
Wow.
And at the end of that conversation, he said, "Look, I can't help you. I don't, I'm about to make my first solo record, but I don't think you can make it from Chicago. You got to come to LA. And if you do, look me up." And he gave me his number. And I graduated a few months later.
You were in high school?
I was in high school.
Holy dude.
And I had applied to Northwestern, to this music program at Northwestern, and I bailed. And with my parents' blessing, as soon as I graduated at 18, I packed my bags and I got an apartment in LA. My dad flew me out to kind of help me get set up.
Yeah.
I called Lionel. He said, "I'm in the studio." It was then A&M, now it's Henson. He said, "Come on down. You should come down to the studio tomorrow." So my dad and I come in. Of course, he's as gracious as he can be, Lionel. We're sitting on the couch in the control room, and they're working on background vocals for the song "You Are." And it's Lionel.
That's crazy, dude. That song changed my life.
And these other two background singers who he worked with all the time. I still remember James Cochran and Debbie Thomas. And I'm sitting there, and I could see that they had been working on this song's background vocals for 2 days in a row. And my dad and I looked at each other, coming from the jingle business. My dad was like, "This had to be done in 10 minutes. But we're watching, and it's a blend issue. And Lionel's out there singing, and he's frustrated, and they're not getting the... And all of a sudden, I can see he's frustrated, and Lionel looks through the glass, and he goes like this. He points to me. He goes, "Come out here." And I literally did one of these like look behind me kind of thing. And I go out, and he goes, "You've been listening to what we're doing?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, Here's the headphones. You sing my part. And Debbie, you sing." And he went in the control room. And they counted it off. And "You are the sun, you are the rain." We did the first pass, and Lionel hit the talkback, and he goes, "That's the sound." And I did all the choruses. And then he said, "We got another song. Put that other song up. Richard, sing." And then he said to me that day, and this is the most important thing. He said, "Come back next week. I can use you next week because we're cutting another track. I think you'd be great on this other." I ended up singing on like 4 songs on that first solo record. But what he said to me, Joel, was...
Did they keep your vocals?
"Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding
I'm on
me?
that record."
Are you on You Are?
Dude, wait. Just wait.
I knew we were soulmates.
No. Just wait.
Okay.
All night long, all night.
God.
That's me.
Yo.
All night.
I did not know this.
Running with the night.
I didn't know this. I just thought that Lionel discovered your music.
Dude, he gave me my first job.
Holy.
But what he said to me that day, and this is so powerful, you'll really understand this. As we were leaving the studio, and I'm so grateful that my dad was sitting there when that happened. He was beaming.
Yeah.
Lionel said to me, "I don't know how much work I have for you on this. I'll probably bring you in on a couple of things, to sing some background vocals." But he said, "Just know that if I'm in this room," meaning the studio, "you're welcome to be in this room." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Like, if you want to be here, you can be here." And I was there every day.
Of course you were.
That was college.
That's college.
If he was doing a horn section overdub, I was there.
That's right.
He was cutting basic tracks, I was there. I went to hit record production school.
Yep.
With Lionel Richie and James Carmichael, his co-producer.
Yep.
I watched them record Truly
Wow.
I watched them record My Love and Kenny Rogers coming in and singing, Just Thinking About You, Baby.
That's crazy.
So then through Lionel, I now know Kenny Rogers, and Lionel recommended me to Kenny. So Kenny hires me to sing background vocals on a record. And I was booked for 2 days. And at the end of the first session, I overheard Kenny mention to the producer that they still were looking for a song. He described it. I went home to my apartment and I wrote a song. And I came in the next day and I did exactly the thing that would usually get you fired as the background singer, which is, I've got a song.
Yeah.
And Kenny Rogers, instead of kicking me out, took me to a piano and made me play it. #1 country song. Crazy. I wrote 3 songs on that Kenny Rogers record, all tracing back to who? Lionel Richie. So cut to, I met Nicole, by the way, when she was that tall.
Yeah.
You know, when they
that would have
first,
been the time.
6-7 years ago, I had this incredible invitation. Barbra Streisand asked me to come and play with her at Hyde Park.
Legendary.
She was on the main stage. I was on the B stage. Still, I got to play for 20,000 people or something like that. She played for 75,000 people or something.
Yeah.
And
all big.
Yeah.
Big shows.
And Lionel was in London playing the next night. And I didn't know that. So I go and I do my show, and then I hung out and, you know, with Barbara and watched her do her thing because we've worked together and friends. And I didn't even look at my phone all night, you know. I get back to the hotel and there's a text from Lionel. And he says, my brother, I was sitting on my patio of my hotel room and I was listening to 20,000 people sing your songs back to you. And I'm just so proud of you. And I was like, dude, it's all because of you. And, you know, so my relationship with him, he's one of those, like there's no way for me to really, truly accurately describe the impact that he had on my life.
Thank you for watching Artist Friendly. If you like this episode, please make sure you hit the like button, you follow the channel, and please share it with your friends. We appreciate the support. That is why this show exists, because you listen to it. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.